Tonight on KVR News, controversy with UT student government.
How UT alums still have active ID cards.
And how those fleeing their country can get asylum right here in Austin.
You're watching KVR News, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to KVR News for Monday, November 17th. I'm Sarah Vasquez.
And I'm Khortlyn Cole.
Members of the Student Government Rules and Regulations Committee are working to compromise with members of the SG Executive Board and agency directors after a months-long effort to overhaul the organization's governing documents. These documents failed to pass through the Assembly on Tuesday.
Controversy focused on rule changes that would input increased oversight on the stipends that members of the Executive Board would receive and would give the Assembly more power over SG agencies. Our David Maly takes us inside the controversy.
I was just hoping we could tack on, just incorporate the word warning and then say,
Members of student government debated for several hours Saturday at a meeting of SG's Rules and Regulations Committee over AB2, a proposed overhaul of the SG bylaws and internal rules. Controversial sections of the bill include increased accountability around the stipends that members of the SG Executive Board receive and increased Assembly oversight on SG agencies.
I feel like one warning is sufficient for your term. We shouldn't have this where it has to be back to back, because that's not really fair in my opinion, because you can, mess up, do well, mess up, do well, mess up, do well every other month. And I know that that's probably not likely, but I just want to prepare for the worst.
Members of student government eventually settled on a compromise that would force the SG Assembly to give members of the Executive Board a warning before revoking their stipends due to determine negligence, fraud, or other factors.
So if the Financial Affairs Committee finds an applicant to be undeserving of the stipend due to false documentation or failure to fulfill duties as prescribed by the UTSG governing documents, then the Financial Affairs Committee may recommend that the Assembly suspend the stipend after a warning had already.
The committee is scheduled to again meet tonight on AB2. Rep. Tanner Long, a supporter of the bill, said he hopes the agency issues can be resolved then, and the bill, which has previously failed to pass at General Assembly, can go into effect by the end of the semester.
However they want to proceed. But I think ideally we'd like to be able to get it voted on and passed before this semester is over, so that when we come in January, we have a fresh start.
David Maly, KVR News.
Prices in parking and transportation are expected to climb up throughout the next 5 years on UT campus. According to the Committee on Parking Strategies, parking and transportation services would be earning a profit of $38 million over the next decade just by increasing parking costs. Since parking and transportation services has no other way of funding money to pay for the establishment of new parking garages, the rise of parking permits is intended to assist their expenses. The Committee on Parking Strategies will discuss their ideas on how to increase UT's parking revenue to student government and the Graduate Student Assembly on Tuesday. One of the first steps in becoming a UT student is getting an ID card that contains personal information and access to resources across campus. Traditionally, these cards deactivate upon graduation, but not always. Chelsea Pena shows us what the remaining activated IDs that could mean for campus security.
All UT students are required to have a UT ID card while they attend the school. Every year, over 8,000 people graduate from the university. Despite no longer being enrolled, many of these student IDs are still activated. Muriel Salcedo has one of them.
I graduated in May and it was still working. I use my ID card mostly for student discounts and have been using it for the bus.
Despite many grads still having activated IDs, the UT ID Center says that this does not happen and that no graduate should have a working ID card.
They're deactivated any time a university member is no longer affiliated with the universities. But it is an issue of campus safety and security. Cards need to be deactivated.
Now, the majority of buildings across the UT campus have building access control systems just like this one. With graduate ID cards not expiring, gaining access to these buildings is as simple as scanning your card and walking right in.
This raises security concerns. UTPD is responsible for responding to any problems with the security systems. They say even if the IDs still work, there are ways to regulate the security of the building.
When somebody is separated with the university, if they did use their access card to gain entry and they did not have their permissions removed, then of course there would be a log of it. So if something were to happen, something nefarious or a criminal activity, we could actually look at the log to see who all to access that area during the time frame of the event.
There is no estimate as to how many of those outside of the university system still have activated ID cards.
Chelsea Pena, KVR News.
The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit declined to rehear Fisher versus University of Texas on Wednesday, a case challenging UT's use of affirmative action in its admissions process. The court has twice sided with UT in the case. The case was sent back down from the U.S. Supreme Court in June of 2013 for additional scrutiny. The case was brought forth against the university by Abigail Fisher and another plaintiff who later dropped out of the case in 2008. Fisher, who is white and was not accepted to the university, claimed that she was discriminated against because of her race. Fisher's attorney, Edward Blum, has said that they will again petition the U.S. Supreme Court to hear the case. Health insurance through healthcare.gov, also known as Obamacare, started their open enrollment period this past Saturday. The open enrollment period is a time when eligible individuals are able to sign up for a healthcare plan using the website's Marketplace feature. The Marketplace allows users to find health coverage after filling out an application. The open enrollment period continues until February 15th, 2015.
President Obama is expected to announce big changes to the immigration enforcement system before Thanksgiving. His plan is set to protect more than 5 million immigrants from deportation. It would protect the most amount of immigrants since the amnesty legislation in 1986. However, this action from the president would not bring the immigrants a pathway to citizenship. Instead, the action is set to protect the families that could be separated from one another due to deportations. With turmoil overseas, many flee their country and come into the U.S. seeking asylum. Joanna Lyles tells us how one local organization opens its door to those looking for a new place to call home.
Theo is from Veracruz. He's been in the U.S. for 42 years, but has recently become homeless. He's been at Casa Marinela for just 3 months. Casa is an emergency homeless shelter in East Austin that serves recently arrived men and women immigrants and asylum seekers. And, like many of the people that come through Casa Marinela's doors, he says he feels like this is his home, his new family. They ask if I ever need anything because they know sometimes I need help. Everyone here cares for me. I'm flattered. I feel happy because I'm no longer alone. I'm not alone. This is a new family God has given me. Casa has housed thousands of immigrants and asylum seekers from all over the world. Behind me, you can see the journey they have traveled before finding their way here. Located on Gunter Street, Casa Marinela has 3 adult homes with 35 spaces for single men and women in need. The length of stay can range from a few days to a few months. Mohammed Omar has been here for a little over a month after fleeing Somalia because of the ongoing political war. He says he is thankful for all the help Casa has given him.
Really wonderful, and I want to be here. Even if I move from here, I will be close to somewhere in Casa.
Casa shelters an average of 500 people a year, as well as provides assistance and services to thousands of community members.
Other shelters don't do medical case management. They don't help people. We take people to appointments, we translate for them, we help them get to specialists, we make sure they get their medicine, we make sure they take it. And that's really gratifying.
Joanna Lyles, KVR News.
Still to come, a local favorite prepares to close its doors.
And how UT students respond to the end of the missing Mexican students case. You're watching KVR News.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
This afternoon, Missouri Governor Jay Nixon declared a state of emergency and activated the National Guard in advance of a grand jury decision regarding the Michael Brown case. Nixon said that National Guard would assist state and local police as needed in case there is civil unrest with the jury's decision. On August 9th, Ferguson police officer Darren Wilson shot and killed 18-year-old Michael Brown in a St. Louis suburb. The St. Louis County prosecutors expect the grand jury to come to a decision whether Wilson will face charges or not, mid to late November.
Earlier this week, it was announced that the 43 missing students in Mexico were in fact captured and killed by a Mexican drug cartel. Protests have erupted across the country and even in the United States. UT students gathered in front of the tower Friday to show their solidarity and bring awareness to the recent event regarding the 43 missing students in Mexico.
We're trying to spread awareness about the events that happened recently in Mexico, like to send positive messages and to realize and get consciousness among the people that we are the ones that have to make the change.
I think it's very important that we join in this cause because, like they were saying before, it's very rare that people in Mexico unite for things like this. Usually people are too afraid to speak out. So now that it's happening, I feel like it's very important for us to be in solidarity with these people because they need all the strength that they can get.
As a community, as the Mexican community, we're tired of the forced disappearances, of the impunity in Mexico, of the social injustice. We want to make the voices in Mexico stronger and hopefully bring out change, even if it's little or a big change. A change is enough.
This week it was announced that members of the Texas Army National Guard will deploy to Western Africa to help in the fight against Ebola. The chance of being deployed is a large part of any branch of military service. Diego Contreras shows us how UT's Army ROTC is preparing their student soldiers for future military service.
To this pole, let's go, keep moving, keep moving!
The seniors of University of Texas Army ROTC prepared a weekend of training at Fort Hood in Killeen, Texas to challenge the junior soldiers before they enter their roles as leaders in the program.
This is all building their basic leadership skills. The whole weekend is planned around teaching them how to be leaders and teaching them how to think on their feet and how to make those critical decisions.
Weekend included helicopter load and unload training to familiarize soldiers with the Army's most vital form of transportation.
We're here doing cold load training, so getting the cadets around the helicopter. A lot of them probably never been around a bird before. So get them introduced to the helicopter, kind of see what it's about up close and personal, get them familiar with the restraints and how to secure themselves inside the bird.
University of Texas Army ROTC runs mock missions using paintball equipment to simulate warfare. The missions force soldiers to interact with a staged foreign village and defend themselves and their squad against enemy fire in a war-style simulation.
This is pretty real-world situations.
I know.
You know, it's,
how hot it got. I was like, wow.
I mean, definitely controlled at the moment.
Diego Contreras, KVR News.
Today, UT Psychology Clinic began offering free cognitive and behavioral therapy for anxiety disorders and depression. The therapy is available to university students, staff, faculty, and non-UT community members. The clinic is asking for people whose difficulties interfere with their daily activities to participate. For more information, you can contact UT's Counseling and Mental Health Center.
We told you about the groundbreaking of a new building for the business school last week. In order to make room for the new school, the restaurant Players has to close down. Our Luke Minadini tells us about this university area icon.
As you can tell by looking behind me, the parking lot in Players is pretty full. Many people are trying to get their last bite in before it closes on November 23rd. Many people are coming back to relive the good times that they had.
We're gonna miss it. I've already seen on my Facebook page, a lot of my friends have already made their last trips here for, to say goodbye.
UT alumni and people in Austin are all saddened by the news that Players on MLK is closing. They remember the restaurant as the place to get late night food after a night downtown or an iconic Austin place to hang out.
What makes Austin great is all its icons, and to see all its icons disappear, it loses a little bit of specialness,
Customers say the local landscape is changing as population grows and attracts many national food chains. One customer who's been coming here for 29 years says not seeing some of his favorite people at lunch will be difficult.
Nowadays you're a number, and certainly these guys have been successful, I think, because they've made such a personal connection with everybody that comes here.
Place has not just been a place where workers connect to customers, but where friends and couples created memories.
We have people coming back wanting a picnic table from the beer garden because that's where they met their husband and that's where they hung out with the band or with the law people. All these different organizations spend a lot of time here. They'd say Tuesday night or Wednesday night for 4 years. They come out, hang out with their buddies and stuff. A lot of them met their future wives.
If you can't make it out to Players before it closes its doors on November 23rd, you can still get Players burgers and fries at any golf course in Austin. The holiday season is quickly approaching, and that means so is the popular consumer holiday Black Friday. In years past, many stores have decided to begin the shopping season early by opening their doors on Thanksgiving. However, several retailers are firing back with the decision not to open until Black Friday morning. Costco and Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Bed Bath & Beyond, and many others have decided to respect the Thanksgiving holiday and remain closed until Friday morning. Stores like Macy's plans to open at 6 p.m. on Thursday, 2 hours earlier than last year. And Sears will open at 8 p.m., saying the extra shopping hours will allow customers to get the best deals.
It has been almost a full week of just downright cold weather here in Austin. Are we sure this is still Texas?
Our David Maly is live in the Weather Center with this week's weather. David, are the hats, scarves, and boots here to stay?
I wouldn't pack up that winter gear just yet. Cold temps are in the forecast, but we will warm up later this week. I'll have more on that after the break.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. The chilly weather from this weekend and today will begin to die down Tuesday with a trade-off for rain and warmer temperatures for much of the rest of the week. Tonight will be clear with a low of around 27 degrees. Tuesday will be sunny with a high of 53 degrees and a low of 39 degrees at night. Wednesday will be mostly sunny with a high of 64 degrees and a low of 48 degrees at night. Temperatures will stay in the 50s and 60s for the rest of the week, with chances of showers and thunderstorms from Thursday until Saturday. Things will clear up Sunday to wrap up the week, with a high near 75 degrees and sunny skies. It looks like this cold weather will finally be backing off of UT, and after a little rain, things will start to clear up. Live in the Weather Center, David Maly, KVR News.
All right, thanks, David.
College press box Caterino Biancardi will be in the studio to talk Longhorn sports after the break. Stay tuned.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm College Press Box's Katerina Biancardi. The Longhorn football team took on Oklahoma State Saturday for that 6th win to make them bowl eligible. Let's check out the highlights from Stillwater. Starting in the first quarter, teams are tied 0-0. Swoops hits Johan Harris for a touchdown. Look at that catch, folks, but Texas misses the extra point. Later in the first quarter, Jonathan Gray carries 6 yards for the touchdown. Texas goes up 13-0. In the second half, Swoops hits freshman Armani Foreman for a 29-yard gain and a first down. Moving on in the fourth quarter, Swoops again hits Armani Foreman for that touchdown. Look at that catch one more time, folks. It was so great. We got to watch it again. So good. There we go. Look at that hands. Texas goes on to beat Oklahoma State 28-7 and gains that bowl eligibility. Texas basketball also got that win in the season opener against North Dakota State. All eyes were on freshman Miles Turner. College Press Box's Harry Hoffman has more on this debut.
Texas fans will get used to hearing that chant around town as Miles Turner began his Longhorn career with a bang.
Well, my teammates really got me ready for this more than anything. They kept me amped up all week. They kept me positive. You know, when I would mess up, they would keep me up. It felt great coming out there and starting that way.
Another year and another Texas freshman stealing the show on opening night. This time, it was the highly touted Miles Turner who transformed his nerves into greatness.
I kidded with him before the game, right before he came out. I said to him, is anybody here more nervous than Miles? And everybody started laughing, and I said, who's going to look out for him? And I said, we will. So, and he came in, and I think him sitting there watching a little bit of it helped him to settle down.
Miles wasn't the only one who was pumped after getting the first win under his belt, as the rest of the Texas team had been waiting for this moment.
It just feels good to be respected. For the home opener, we were pretty amped, especially in the season like we did last year. We just grinded all summer in practice. On and off the court, we just talked to each other as a team and just said that we're coming in and winning this first game, so it felt good.
Harry Hoffman, College Press Box.
All right, thanks, Katerina. Our Diego Contreras has our entertainment news tonight. What's going on in the entertainment world, Diego?
Taylor Swift sends her fans gifts, the Mean Girls 10th anniversary, and Beyonce's sister gets married. Coming up next.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. Christmas came early for some as Taylor Swift revolutionized the relationships artists have with their fans. Swift has taken control of her Tumblr account and has decided to stalk her fans. She has coined the term Taylurking to account for the snooping she did on the fans' blogs. Over the past few weeks, Swift has tracked multiple blogs to get to know the fans personally in order to surprise them with early Christmas presents. Her thoughtful gift set she sent out were even personalized with handwritten notes and signed by her. Some of the gifts included a tea set, a keepsake box, a robe, and even an opal necklace. The men of Mean Girls stopped by Austin this Friday celebrating the movie's 10th year anniversary at Foreverfest. And they answered why they think the movie has been such a success.
Well, I kind of burned him, and then he got fired. And then
Stop laughing, Stacey.
Because everyone went to high school, and so everyone can relate to it. It was done so well, where every single person that's alive, that's gone to high school, knows what it's like to have those cliques and those tables where they sit at different tables at lunch. Everyone's went through it.
And I think Mean Girls is like that general thing, because you watch and say, oh, so wait, I'm not the only one. And, oh, okay, there's that person who's best friend. And everybody can kind of identify with different characters, for better or for worse, but they can still identify with different characters. And I think that, we all want to know that we're not the only ones going through it. So I think that's what it is.
So, there is a legitimacy to the struggles that girls go through, and I don't think it was ever portrayed before, and especially in such a funny light.
Thanks, Diego, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sarah Vasquez.
And I'm Khortlyn. For news and weather updates throughout the week, you can follow us at KVR News